YouTube. I've encountered a problem already. I've mentioned a few times that I've got too many amps. I'm going to try and get rid of some. Try to pick the best one to keep. So, the Blackstar HT5. So, plugged it in, and I was assuming that the orange there is miles better. Much more expensive. The thing is, Blackstar sounds really good. It's really annoying. And that's on the internal speaker as well. I do have a 3x12 cabinet here, which I can plug into the back of it if I really wanted to. So I was kind of putting it at a disadvantage already, having just using the internal. It's only a 10-inch speaker that's in it. But that was me just checking it, make sure it wasn't my ears. I wonder if my left ear is maybe better than my right ear. Definitely seems to be actually. My right ear's not as good as my left ear. So I do have a pedal set up to switch between the two amps. There is quite a lot of noise in it. It's not an isolating pedal. That's now the orange. I was going to say that one's a wee bit bassy, but it's got a bass knob. The problem I've got kind of like, I've got my Sovtech, which I can't ever get rid of, which is my gigging amp. So I run that through the 3x12. Sounds awesome in the studio. As I did a video with it using the Ukraine Ocaster, because of what Russia's doing just now, I didn't really it didn't sound, the Sovtech doesn't really work at low volumes. It works, it makes sound, but it doesn't sound good. That is 30 watt. And I've got it switched on the back to half, so 15 watt. I've got it switched on the front to half, so it's 7.5 watt. It does have a 12-inch speaker on it and less knobs than this one. So a 5 watt amp's pretty much what you need in the house. You don't need any bigger than that. I mean, even the volume's sitting at, it's like at 3 or something like that. It's not. It's pretty loud. But loud just doesn't really matter, just it sounds really nice. So it's got a distortion. And it's got a clean channel, just a volume knob on the clean, and then gain and volume on the overdrive channel, and a master EQ, bass, middle, treble, and ISF, which is infinite shape feature, which is meant to make it go from sort of sounding American to sounding British. That's fully at 10 on the ISF. This is at 0 now. The problem is I like both those sounds, so you can mix between them, but they're both good. Then it is at half. Turn the gain up a little bit. Oh, that's volume, that's why. Get the volume and gain mixed up. That's at the gain at full and the volume at very little. I'll try to switch over onto the orange, but this is not looking as easy as. And it's got a dirty channel on it as well, which does have a foot switch, but I've not got it plugged in. Dirty. More of a gain. It's not even got the gain at full. Okay, it's okay now. I think the orange are quite well known for being very gainy. I get a Slipknot uses one now. really love this guitar though. Bear in mind again, like I said at the start, this has got an unfair handicap by only running on its internal speaker. I'm not really bothered for me in the house anyway, because I've got that 3x12 sitting there anyway. I'll use it. I do like that speaker cap because it's got a speaker that points up the way, so you can stand in front of it and hear it. And obviously you can hear it over there and over there. It's a great design. That again, it's quite noisy in the dirty channel, but so is the orange. But I don't know. I'm not really. This is an absolute pig. This. I'm gonna have to try and. I can't keep all of them, can I? If it'd be different, maybe if I could have them all. Like my pal Blacktooth Fox has got all his amps piled up on top of each other, which works. I could sort of do if I've got guitars on the wall and I've got speaker cabinets. Mind you, I don't really need to have that Marshall cabinet sitting there, but I like having it there. It's more. I don't know. I mean, if I'm doing a straight A/B between the two, I mean, I think maybe at 5 watts, it's probably not giggable as much. Although it does have like emulated outputs and external cabinet things. It's got an effects loop in it. This also has it's got a valve-driven effects loop in it. I don't know whether that one does or not. It's got less knobs on it. So this one on the dirty channel, you've only got gain, volume, and shape. On the dirty channel, and the clean volumes get clean bass, treble, and volume on it. Which is fine. I do quite like the switch on the front, the switch between clean and dirty. That's quite nice rather than having a wee stupid push button, which most of them have. I can't decide. I got this in a trade, and it's like orange. It's not orange, it's black. I find that annoying. I wish it was. I think it was actually rarer and probably worth more money because it's in a black cabinet. But I can't like the orange cabinet if it had it. But again, like, we're kind of not really comparing like with like. That's a 30 watt valve amp is big enough to gig. Is big enough to play along with a band. No problem without any speaker cabinets, without any PA. For me anyway, I don't need massive clean volume. I discovered that from using the other amp, the one which I'm not going to sell, the one that looks really cool, the one that's built in Coatbridge. I took that into the studio and I had it cranked up and it was still clean at drum volume. And I was like, I don't know how to deal with that. I need to hide mistakes. I need more drive, which is valve amps are really good at. Not sure it's the prettiest thing, the orange. It's kind of a bit industrial looking, I feel. I don't know. It's just difficult. But the problem is, I have the same problem with guitars. I don't want to sell ones that I really like, and it's like, that's a great wee amp. Would I recommend you buy a Blackstar HT5? Yes, I would. They're great. It's smashing. And I really like the sound of the guitar come through. What I really got to decide is, does it do anything that the other amps don't cover? So between these two, I can have both. They both do slightly different things. That's with the rat pedal. You can maybe hear the smaller speaker there when using the rat pedal, but then again I've got it set up. The rat pedal's set up to play through the orange, so it's like kind of maybe just the filter button on the rat. Makes a huge difference. So I very rarely touch the knobs on the rat apart from the middle one. If the rat's not sounding right, you just turn that middle one. It's really between like sort of 11 and 1. It makes a huge difference. So I'm going to get to the elephant in the room, which is kind of why I've been swaying towards that one. You notice the main difference? Well, it's not the main difference, but the big difference for me, the knobs are on the front, the knobs are on the back, which means that on that one, I can look at it and see that it's on and what it's doing by just looking at the front of it, whereas this one, it's like, oh, I have to stand up and look over the top, which isn't that much effort. It's really annoying. I got that really cheap, and I was just going to, the plan was I was just going to sell it. It wasn't until I plugged it in, I went, oh, it's actually really good. Really good. It's really good and for hearing the difference in sounds in the pickup locations as well. You're like neck pickup. Then you got position 2 or 5. That's position 5, isn't it? 5's the neck. Position 4. Middle position, which I never ever use. And then position 2. Bridge single coil. Bucker and filth. It's a total failure, isn't it, really? This trying to decide which amp I'm going to sell, because I don't want to sell them. I don't want to sell this one. It's too good. It definitely got its sound. It doesn't sound the same. Not going to use the T word and say tone, I'm just going to go for sound. Does it have a nice sound? Yes, it totally does. Does it have a better sound than this one? That sounds bigger. That might be again just to do with the size of the speaker. I don't know. That's a really annoying one. I was kind of hoping, even when you go back, after I've been playing the better one, you know, going back to the wee one, it still sounds really good. I like that, but it's quite crunchy actually, with a bit more overdrive on it. Oh, that's good. This is kind of why I've got so many guitars though. It's like the reason I only really ever had one amp or two amps at the Sovtech, which was slightly too big, then I bought the wee Laney VC15, was I don't know, by limiting myself to that, I just never really thought about looking at other amps, and then ended up, this was only till, was it last year, ended up buying more amps, and it's like, they kind of found me rather than me finding them. That's really good. I would totally, it's like, yeah, you're going to a band rehearsal, you get this guitar and that amp, that's all you need. I don't need anything else. All this other stuff's just added on extra stuff I don't need. Well, okay, I need a bass amp and I need a bass, but, you know, for playing guitar, and I think, you know, something like, you know, just not necessarily a super expensive guitar, but a good, really good guitar, and that amp, you know, like, the world's your oyster, really. So I mean, I've now got, I'm kind of want to keep them both now. And what I'm going to have to do now is I'm going to maybe have to look through and look out my, I've got a PV Valve King VK112, which is very nice as well. It's I think it's, is it 50 watt? And a 12-inch speaker, so it's probably more comparable to that one. Like on all terms really. Obviously I would have said the orange is cooler than PV, but they're maybe a bit more like of like. But even then, even with ones that, you know, pretty much unmatched, 30 watt, okay, I've got it turned right down. I do have, there's a slight issue with that being at a very, very low volume. Like the dirty volume and the clean volume are both at barely engaged, even though it's running in quarter power. So it's kind of not really that sensible having it in the house. It's not really a house amp, but it does do it and it sounds really good at that volume, whereas I think that is not working to its full potential at this volume. Take that in, play it along with a band, open it up fully, open up the taps and let it rip. I bet you it's absolutely rocking, whereas this being only 5 watt, I'd imagine you probably start to hear it cracking up a little bit. Then saying that, I've got one of the other amps I've got a PV Valve King Royal 8, which is a very, very basic amp. It's just got like a volume again and a tone on the front, and when you open it up there's only about 6 things in it. It's got like a transformer, some valves, and the knobs, and it's like, and you know, the circuit board looks like a football pitch. It's just a big green board with like some lines on it, and pretty much no components. It's really basic. But I took that into the studio, used it and cranked up, sounded fine, sounded great. More so with it suffered a wee bit. I think it's got a slightly cheaper speaker in it. I think this might have either a more expensive speaker or a better chosen speaker in it. And even see, that's it at full bung. On on the clean channel, and it is breaking up. That thing, there's no way I'm going to turn that up to full bung, even on quarter power mode. It would just basically the world would explode. In this room anyway. But it's such a nice sound. I know it's all to do with harmonics, odd harmonics and even harmonics and all these things. Not really have to worry about what it is they're actually doing. I kind of know a little bit about these things from using synthesizers, like proper analog synths, where you start off with a sine wave and you can change it, all that sort of stuff, kind of tunes your brain a little bit more into what sound's actually doing, rather than just being a completely clean tone, because obviously the clean tone in neither of these is clean. It's got its own thing that it does to it, EQs it and emphasizes certain bits and cuts off other bits and all that stuff, but very pleasant, both of them. So I wonder if I just have to work out some way of getting more amps in here. And then but I have the same problem with guitars. Which guitars I want to play, and it just comes down to, you'll have noticed me doing this recently. I tend to have a favourite guitar, and my favourite guitar tends to be the most recent really good one. So this is currently my favourite guitar, yes. Maybe just because it's got new strings on it still. Then you get that one, which was my favourite guitar for when I got it back getting fixed, and that's been my favourite guitar for 6 months, and that's been my favourite guitar. That's been my favourite. Having a lot of them and then being able to just switch between them. I wonder if I just basically cover that side of the room with amps as well. I could totally blow the universe and sometimes put the camera over there. Oh no, I've got a TV. I'm going to look and see what I'm doing. Yeah. Thinking about it. But I mean, it boils down to, do I recommend you buy a Blackstar HT5? Yes, I do. I think they're awesome. It's awesome. But when I put it up to full volume there, it was still, my eyeballs weren't bleeding and I wasn't passing out. So maybe the 5 watt thing isn't really your gigging amp as much. But I mean, even for rehearsals and stuff, would it still do? I mean, it's got outputs, and it's got like a cabinet simulator output and all that stuff. So I mean, you just run that into give the sound guy that at a gig, and then use the sound you want, and it'll just be there and fine. I could just stand here and play the guitar all day with that. I've tried to stop doing this video about 10 times so far. So basically this had the power, the knobs on the front. I have also heard that there's people, I've definitely read online, you can read anything online though, you can, but the quality, you can tell an amp by the quality of the handle, but it's like, that's a really good handle, it's kind of like leather and stuff, whereas the amp, the one on that's just one of your crappy plasticky bits with a piece of metal with a rubber on it. So I mean, as far as handle goes, much better than that one. But in saying that, less easy to put things on top of that. But you can't put things on top of that because it's got the knobs on the top. You can get this as a head as well. But see, I like the idea of a head, but the problem with a head is you need a cabinet. And okay, it does make it smaller, but it might even have I think the head might actually have the knobs on the front. But the problem with that is, a head's not really that much smaller than this one, because if you think about it, the way it's sitting, the valves are kind of hanging down to here on the back, so it's that size sort of thing for the head, that. So for an extra 4 inches on the bottom, you've got everything that the head's got, but you don't need to take a cabinet if you're just using it in the house, or if there isn't a cabinet, it's got a speaker in it as a sort of backup, really. So the whole head thing, I think it was very much the same with that as well. You can buy that as a head, but the head's not, the head's not that size. The head's half the size of the cabinet. So you might as well get the one that's got a speaker in it, because then you might be in a situation, if you're playing in the house, or it's an acoustic thing, or you don't need to take a cabinet with you. Oh, I don't know. It's difficult. Actually, I saw a cabinet, the one that goes with that, on Reverb yesterday, Gumtree, Facebook Marketplace yesterday, which looks rather good, and you could run 2 cabinets off that, and it'd be pretty cool. So you'd have like a 2x12, which would be pretty cool, but I don't need that. This also does a clever thing where you can actually run the internal speaker and an external speaker at the same time. I've not actually looked into the Orange, whether it does that or not. But I'm going to stop rabbiting on after I've this. My main gripe, the only gripe I've got with this guitar, it's not the actual guitar's fault, but it's got a dent in the back of the neck there, and quite a bad dent. It's obviously been done 20-30 years ago. And last night I was messing about with the soldering iron and getting a bit of wet kitchen roll, and then trying to steam, put a soldering iron on it and trying to steam it out, because apparently what happens there is like water goes into the wood fibres and a dent and kind of expands them, so you can get it back to the right position, which I thought had totally failed. But looking at it, I've kind of done half. The dent is half as deep as it was before, so I may have another go at that just to get it. It's not really that annoying, but it's like on a guitar when you're playing. I've said this many times. It's like the bit you see when you're playing is this bit, the top. So one of the reasons I love the West Tone Raider so much is it's got like glitter paint on it. So when you're in the studio, you can look and it's like, oh, spangly, looks great. That's the bit you see when you're playing. You don't see it what you're saying just now. You just see that bit, and you're kind of looking at your hands. So like having fancy stuff written, or even something down here is the best bit. And this has got like a dent right there where you see it. If it was on the underside, you wouldn't see it. It wouldn't be annoying. It's just that this one, every time you look at it, you go, ah, big dent in it. I'm too used to dents. Yeah, so completely inconclusive, but basically both these amps, both awesome. Yes, I would happily have either one of them and both of them. Rock on.